Memory transcription subject, Captain Sovlin, United Nations Fleet Command. Date, standardized human time, February 21st, 2137. Hunter was summoned to a UN base responsible for archives prisoners, accessible by a short shuttle ride to an undisclosed location. Tyler had been working on interrogations on site since our return to Earth, though the more I pressed, the more I got the feeling that claim wasn't representative of the truth. While my amber-eyed relic of the 1960s was finalizing the documents for his reintegration, I was determined to uncover what Officer Cardona, and possibly by extension humanity, was hiding. Were the Terrans trying to convert the Far Soul to our side, like they'd done with me? I wouldn't neglect aiding the human primitive who become dear to my heart in spite of his antiquated ways, but it didn't sit well that I was the only soldier from the Archives mission kept in the dark. Hunter was napping against my shoulder, somehow acting harmless despite his beastly origins from lawless days. When I interacted with him, old behaviors resurfaced from when Hania, my daughter, was alive. I devoted myself to catching the human up on modern learning. It was my first real look at Earth without any safeguards or restrictions, but we plunged into those depths together. Hunter also needed a crash course on the wider galaxy. Things that a child Hania's age would have known were new to him. However, when I passed along overviews of alien currencies and markets on a whim, I'd seen his eyes light up the way my daughter's had the first time she saw the ocean. Despite being a rural farm boy, the Predator had an aptitude for the subject, soaking up complex ideas like a sponge. While basic science and simplistic technology confounded him, Hunter could identify trends and analyze data as well as a high-ranking Fisson on Evoke. If he wanted to adjust to the modern times, trading might be a perfect option.
It's fascinating that the hyper-capitalist races are run by their highest corporations and conglomerates,
the ancient human had remarked.
Ruling purely on economic benefits seems unwise. I'm a laissez-faire guy, but you need some oversight. Entities can't be trusted to police predatory behavior on their own.
Of course a primitive human says that, I'd wanted to reply, though I kept it to myself. If savage outliers could rise to power in your time, Hunter, I'm sure they saw economic exploits as another avenue to shirk all morals. Feeling my shoulder falling asleep, I tried to slip out from under Hunter's skull without waking him. However, without my weight to support him, the Predator began to topple sideways. His binocular eyes jolted open, and he yawned in groggy confusion. Dipping my head in apologetic fashion, I tried to shake the pins and needles from my arm. It was crazy that I could see a creature that looked like this, and once likely ripped prey apart with those youthful hands, as my son. "It lives!" I teased, swatting him on the knee with the blunt side of my claws. The human recoiled, surprised by the contact. "I thought you went back into cryosleep for a moment." Hunter scrunched his nose.
I didn't mean to fall asleep on you, Sovlin.
Nonsense, it's fine. You were adorable. We're almost here, so I've got to return some feeling to my arm.
I'm not sure how I feel about being called adorable.
Any other species would take the affectionate remark and roll with it. If someone told me a few months ago I'd be trying to convince a downer predator that life's worth living, letting one snooze on my shoulder, do you know what I would have said?
That you want my entire species to suffer, and that you'd claw my eyes out. Also, I'm not a downer. There's just objectively nothing to live for. The future sucks.
Well, it'll suck a little less every day. You gotta press on to find out if things get better, and you can't think the future sucks across the board. You got me to wake you up after all, and I'm one of the most loved figures on Earth.
I'm quite aware the opposite is true, Sovlin. I am grateful that you've stuck with me, even if you keep trying to throw away my cigarettes.
The first time I saw you setting a stick on fire and putting it in your mouth, I thought you were attempting suicide by smoke inhalation. I still do. Why would even predators do something so stupid? Tyler told you it's toxic and causes cancer.
Not that it'd make a difference if it were true, but name one reason I should take Tyler's word for anything.
Fair point. Your Tull, who didn't even know what aviation was as a kid, knows more than Tyler.
Why is Unzo not growing up with aviation relevant?
Because I said so, Hunter Ernest Garner.
All three names. Ouch.
Ouch is right. Now get up. Let's move to the cockpit before landing, huh? We should be prepared for whatever they're gonna ask you. Hunter made a point of saluting, and I waved my claws dismissively at the Predator. We ambled up to the cockpit where Tyler was paying no mind to the automated transit shuttle. By regulation, someone who could pilot a craft was supposed to keep watch during takeoff and landing. That meant I needed to preside over the blonde officer for the descent. The plane had begun to tilt downward, and the windshield granted a clear view of desolate treetops surrounding a roughshod installation. UN security on the ground looked like ants from this height.
Sovlin called your buddy primitive again.
Hunter snitched immediately. I shook my head. Damn you. It doesn't count toward the jar. I stopped myself. Tyler rolled his eyes.
That your tool was studying rocket science when he was 13, and knows more than you about pretty much everything. I bet a kidney that he'd smoke you on an IQ test.
As if. Onzo repeats things he hears and he reads. Word retention doesn't mean... Tyler's holopad buzzed in his lap, revealing an incoming call. The tall human grew serious at once, and he pressed a finger to his lips for silence. Hunter gawked at the video call, an awestruck expression taking over his features. I wasn't sure if such exchanges existed in this century, or if they'd been in monochrome over computers the size of a building like he'd suggested before. It might have been more difficult to resist scoffing at him had I not seen the face on the other end of the call. Marcel. The red-haired human was inconsolable, weeping through puffy eyes and red-rimmed irises. A box of tissues was just in view of the camera, with several wadded up on the desk. His posture looked utterly defeated and distraught, while his grooming was in shambles. It was clear he'd lost weight in the aftermath of the cure. Marcel wasn't quite as gaunt as when I'd held him captive without any food, but he didn't look like a healthy predator. This certainly wasn't the put-together man who forgave me after Silis. I always feel guilty just for interacting with him. Should I stay out of the picture? No, I can't. I have to oversee the shuttle's landing.
Tyler.
Marcel's voice was choked with mucus, sounding ragged and shaky.
Oh God. How could this happen to Slanik? I should have stopped him and now he's gone, and I don't know if he's dead or... There's nothing...
Tyler narrowed his eyes.
Hey, slow down. Breathe, buddy. Tell me, in plain English, what happened to Slanik?
You haven't heard?
Why would I know what happened to your exchange pal?
The news. He shot Nikonis. The Dwerton snuck him to Arthur. The Kultians made a video about what happens to herbivores who are around predators, but it's...
Are you having a mental break? Slanik, the skittish and emotional Venlil who couldn't fight in a flight sim.
I wish I'd lost it. Slanik's gone. His mum's begging me to know what happened, which I don't fucking know. And the last thing I said to him...
The red-haired human returned to full-fledged sobbing and buried his face in his hands. While our shuttle touched down on a landing strip, I punched the name Slanik into my holopad. Multiple headlines announced Nikonis' death, and UN intelligence was on record verifying that Marcel's friend was the assassin. I found that difficult to believe, even after seeing how bitter and angry the Venlil had been toward me. He'd tried to kill me while Arxa breathed down both our necks, so I knew he was neither level-headed nor pragmatic. Still, the magnitude of what the Venlil had done was enormous.
Marcel?
Hunter whispered.
This is the guy you tortured. And who's Nikonis?
I ignored the ancient beast's question and tapped Tyler on the shoulder. It's true, what Marcel says about Slanik. None of the articles are certain whether he's alive, but the fact that the Kultians haven't announced his death...
It means they have something else in store for him.
Marcel bowled.
I can't do anything to stop it or protect him. He said he was getting help. He lied to me. Again. He's probably being tortured just like me. Like I was.
Tyler pursed his lips.
We don't know that.
Don't patronize me. We both know I'm right. I need you to help me. There's no chance the UN will let me serve again, but I can't just let the Kolshians keep him. Tell me how I put myself on a warship to Arthur. I have to do something.
No, you don't. You've done more than enough, and it should be obvious to you that you're not fit for combat. Forget the mental aspect. How would you ever integrate with a human unit with such severe allergic reactions from traces of animal protein? It's not your fault, and you need to sit this one the fuck out.
I can't go on like this. Nothing good ever happens to me, and everyone I ever cared about. There's nothing but hate and suffering. I try so hard to be moral and kind, and the fucking universe just pisses all over me. I'm done. I'm ready to die by a gun one way or another, so if you're really my friend, put me on a goddamn shuttle.
Listen to yourself. You're irrational, man. Slanik clearly had his own issues, but I know he wouldn't want this. He loved you, Maybe a little too much. I'm going to help you, but you have to be strong and be here for when we find him. For his family. For Nulia. Things will get better, and you're a good person who can bring a lot of positivity to this world.
Marcel, it breaks my heart to see you this despondent. If I deserve to be happy, so do you, I interjected. I can't imagine your trauma and your pain, but you shouldn't give up. This is my fault, not yours. It starts and ends with me. Marcel heaved a tired sigh.
I don't care whose fault it is. I just want it to stop.
We're working on it.
Tyler's blue eyes shone with as much sincerity I'd seen from him. His concern for his friend was apparent.
I know you're wondering how I can possibly help you, but you called me because you trust me. You trust me, right?
Yes. But I have no one else to call.
So I was your first choice. I'm flattered. Listen, I'm gonna make sure you get to help out. I'll get in touch with the UN some way and see that you're put on something like reports. It all makes a difference toward bringing Slanek home. Second, I'll ask to go to Arthur in your place and do anything I can to bring down these fuckers at the very least.
Tyler, I can't ask you to do that. You have some sort of cozy detail.
Us crayon eaters make our own decisions. You're worth it to me. I want Marcel Fraser in this world, but if I'm doing this, you'd better uphold your end of the bargain and carry on. Remember how happy you were learning about aliens. You're gonna treat your time abroad like an exchange program adventure, and they'll find a cure before you know it. You hear me?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Good. Buddy, we landed a few minutes ago, and I don't want the boys in blue barging in, flaunting phrases like dereliction of duty. I've got to, interrogate some, guests.
Marcel chuckled in spite of himself.
You're not qualified to interrogate a Barbie doll. What are you really...
Tyler coughed, flicking his pupils in my direction. What the fuck? I knew he was hiding something from me about his work here.
Got it. Good luck with your interrogations, buddy.
The redhead pivoted. Officer Cardona grinned.
I love you, man. I'll be in touch as soon as I can, and believe me, I'm on this.
Thank you, truly. Don't worry, I won't do anything rash. I'll talk to you in a bit. I'm gonna go lay down.
The red-haired human disconnected from the call, and Tyler cleaned his misty eyes. It was moving to see how much the two predators cared for each other as friends. However, other thoughts warred for my attention. Marcel's skepticism of the real happenings at this base fueled my own suspicion, prompting me to find a way to snoop around once we got inside. I helped Tyler straighten his uniform, shifting between concern for my former captives and nosiness toward this current operation. Tyler, I know we go where they tell us, but I'd like to throw my name in with your request, I murmured. I owe it to Marcel, and his Van Lille. Slanek might not have done this if he'd been allowed to take his frustrations out on me, or if I hadn't sparked his anger to begin with. Hunter raised his eyebrows.
What? But I need you here. You promised to help me navigate the world, Sovlin. I can't do this alone. You're all I have.
I'll still be in touch, here for you at the press of a button, but I'm responsible for Slanek going off the deep end. It's not right for me to live while Marcel throws in the towel. I couldn't live with myself if I didn't try to do something. Please, Tyler. The tall human sighed.
You did enough for Marcel on Silis, but I know you'd never believe that, so I'll forward your request. Honzo will want to come with me, and it won't be a negotiation. If Sam and Carlos want to join, you'd better find out by this afternoon.
Yes, sir.
That's settled then. Let me walk you and Hunter to the lobby for your Q&A, and we'll sort out the rest later. I've got to get to my post.
I wrapped an arm around Hunter's torso, trying to reassure him of my commitment to his welfare. As determined as I was to motivate Marcel to persist, this reawakened predator from the archives was beginning to feel like my son. I had to ensure they both sought continued existence. It was dubious how successful I was at deciphering Earth's ways, but I tried to set my primitive Terran up for success and fulfillment. He needed my guidance. No matter how far away I was, I would deign to be in touch daily, if at all possible. Would you object to me, mentally adopting you? I whispered to Hunter. The primate scratched the brown hair on his scalp.
No.
Good. Now only if I could change your name. Are you sure I can't call you Ernest?
No, that was Pa's name. I ain't my Pa, and I don't want to think about him none.
Tyler escorted the two of us through the premises, down a walkway to an unassuming complex. UN guards were patrolling and posted at various entrances. Despite its remote location on their own planet, the humans hadn't relaxed security at this base. The Predators were notably paranoid of attacks, anywhere and at any place, but I thought it'd be wiser to concentrate security inside with the prisoners. That was unless the notion of Archives inmates was misdirection, just like the fabricated interrogations. Maybe Hunter is privy to some information I'm not. He could have overheard something Tyler revealed without me present. Since this beast is my kind of son now, he's going to help me solve the puzzle. I pushed the issues with Slanik to the back of my mind, knowing that I'd already committed to do what I could. Dwelling on the Venlil's crazed, yet successful assassination would only provide a disservice to Hunter, and it would distract me from assessing the situation here. Why would the Predators alter the facts about their activities with me when I'd proven my loyalty and discretion? I'd been willing to do everything the United Nations asked without questions or hesitation. It was ridiculous that the primates would keep me out of the loop now.
Here we are.
Tyler ushered us into a lobby area and spoke a few words to a receptionist. He turned back to us with a taut smile, scanning his card to unlock a secured door.
You'll do great, Hunter. I'll be there to take you both home. Ramen tonight.
Again!
Hunter groaned.
Blame Sovlin and his stupid meat allergies. If you don't like it, cook for yourselves.
The blonde human vanished down the corridor, and the receptionist informed us that UN personnel would be with us shortly. I waited several seconds to ensure Tyler was gone and scoped out the area. A keycard was visible on the desk, which was likely able to unlock the sealed door. However, there was no way for me to snatch it, since it was in the direct line of her binocular vision. I nudged Hunter, whispering in his ear, "Distract her. Make a scene."
Why?
He hissed. "Because Tyler's not a good liar, and I'm tired of pretending he is. Do it."
Yes, Dad.
The brown-haired human stuck his tongue out at me before sauntering up to the desk in exaggerated fashion. He tried to peek at the computer display, but she turned it away from him. Hunter made a pouting face before removing his shoe from his foot. I gasped when he chucked it just over her head.
What the fuck are
The
you
poor
doing?
stranger seemed shocked as well.
Now, sir,
She
or I'll
rose
call
quickly,
security.
approaching the ancient human to subdue him. I slunk around the corners of her vision and swiped her card as she shouted at the primitive to calm down. Jackpot. I unlocked the sealed door, only to find two human guards standing a few paces away inside. Gulping, I tried to think quickly. Acting like I belonged here would be easier than shoving my way through, blind to where I needed to go. My posture straightened with false confidence, and I prayed my remaining spine didn't bristle and reveal my nerves. "I have an urgent message for Officer Tyler Cardona." "Captain Monaghan asked that I pass it along for his eyes only," I said, trying not to waver under their scrutinizing binocular eyes. "You can verify with her if you want to waste everyone's time and land yourself on a Starship Captain's shit list. Either way, I must speak with Officer Cardona at once." The guards, both young soldiers who seemed inexperienced, shared a glance before one beckoned for me to follow them. The threat of being rebuked by a superior officer was menacing, and to their eyes, it was unlikely I'd accessed the facility at all without proper clearance. If I tried anything, or was found to be lying, they could always restrain me. I followed the humans down a short hallway, retreading the ground Tyler had walked on. My heart was pounding in my throat from this act of deception, though I was also nervous to discover what the humans were concealing. The UN soldiers hesitated before one rapped his knuckles on a thick metal door. I drew a deep breath as Tyler popped it open, granting me a peek of what was inside the cell. There were no fossil occupants, nor were there any rescued herbivores being purposefully hidden from their people. Instead, I could see comfortable accommodations designed for an unrestrained Arxer, which had its monstrous eyes turned toward the door. The blonde human seemed alarmed to see me, but I wasn't paying his incensed words any attention. Why would the Terrans have a Grey in custody, kept under the guise of the Archives? My heart rate climbed even higher, and with rage churning my blood, I struggled to consider what this meant. All I wanted was to have the sadistic predator slain at my claws for the torment its kind inflicted upon my family.